This painting, this is a little unusual. What we're going to do here is we are creating this one as a recreation of another painting. And the reason we're doing that is I have a very good friend of mine. He asked to have something special made for his girlfriend. This is the point where everybody who's listening goes, "Aw." First thing we're going to do is we're going to start playing around with the sky. We want to get some of our clouds in there. Now, you that have been to my channel before, you guys know exactly how much I love making clouds. And I have a very special method that I like to use to do it, and I use makeup brushes through the whole thing. So, we're going to start creating our little feeling of our clouds. We're going to do it by just getting some wispies started, and we will go into some more distant clouds in a moment, but we want to get these wispy clouds just kind of in here. Give us a little bit of depth way back in the background with the clouds that we've got. And it's just light stuff now. As we get closer to where the ocean's going to be, because this one will be an ocean and a beach scene, we're going to have lighter and lighter sky. So we want to make sure that we get that ready. We're going to put layer after layer after layer in this, so by no means is what you're seeing going to be anything that sticks around. It's always going to have more, and more to it. Now, if you've never been to my channel before, I always love it when people make comments. Make sure that you say, "Hey, I'm here." Even if it's a rude or an awful comment, those are even better, because guess what? The algorithm still counts them as the same. In fact, I did have one individual who he came on and all he kept doing was saying some pretty nasty things. And I have a pretty rabid fan base. When I've got someone saying nasty, horrible things, what happens is the rest of my fan base comes on and starts basically attacking that person back. So it is one of my favorite things to see, is to have an individual come on and just start trashing the channel. Especially if they're another artist, because I always encourage every artist to give a shout out and say, "Hey, this is who I am, this is what I do," so that my fans can end up going and seeing what they do for work. Sparks, hey, how you doing? Oh, hi. Um, this is Miss Gibbet Wrist Jones, one of my favorite people. And Sparks, yes, it's blue. So how astute of you, buddy. How very astute. Okay, let's just get what we want going on here. Now, the photograph that I ended up pasting as the image for this is the actual painting, and it was, I believe, stolen by someone. And so they wanted to have a recreation done for their girlfriend. Such a sweet thing to do. Okay, right now what we're doing is we're just working on getting some clouds put in here. So right up in this area. In fact, we'll just kind of move it around, give you guys a way to take a look at it. He's smart. The boyfriend, he's very smart. He's a great guy, and he's an incredibly intelligent dude as well. Okay, let's get some clouds going on. We're going to actually focus on getting real clouds going instead of just our wispies. And we're going to move over to a much smaller makeup brush. Going to be using this one. Got to get it a little wet. And we're just going to bring some of that down and through. This particular brush has a little bit of a texture to it. We want that texture. We want it to really just move some of that paint around, and we want it to leave little drag marks. That's a good thing for us to have happening right now. And then we're going to come through and we're going to soften it with another brush, and it'll get rid of the drag marks, but it'll leave behind the feeling of our clouds that we want. We want kind of this whoosh going up, like the wind is really trying to tear the clouds right up off the page, or canvas in this case. Okay, we're getting a nice little cloud piece there. We're going to do a really small one right through here. And we're going to come back in with that same small makeup brush. We're going to tear it apart just a little bit. We're going to add some water to the mix. And then we're going to take a nice, soft, dry one, and we're going to pull it right off the side. clouds are moving through, and they are probably the easiest part of the painting. We're going to come back up into the corner here, and we're going to add a little bit more layer. And we're going to pull it down as though we're getting a little bit of the sunlight there. We'll probably add some yellow up in that corner as well. You guys know me, I don't like doing just a plain Jane blue painting, now do I? Okay, all right. Yes, very good, very good. Everything's looking good on that so far. We do need a couple of wispies further in the background. We're not going to bother anything with trying to make those diffused out. We're just going to use the brush that we've got. Kind of like dancing with the one who brought you. We'll pull some behind where this mountain's going to be. And then we'll add a much larger one right up here in this corner, up here. Okay. Now we are doing this one in landscape, and normally I would end up doing my paintings in a portrait because I like the stand-up method, and it's easier to get all of that onto the video when I'm doing it live on YouTube. Did I just say YouTube? That too. Okay. Like, subscribe, and share. Absolutely. Thank you, Andrew. Please, everybody like, subscribe, and share. If you're not already subscribing to my channel, then shame on you. Okay, we've got the first layer and part of our clouds. Now, we're going to come down here by where our water is going to be at, and we're going to add a little more atmosphere. We're going to bring it down. Right down here. We're going to add a lot of this atmosphere in. Really get it so it's heavy, heavy, heavy. And then as we get further up, we will use our makeup brushes to diffuse it. So let's go ahead and do that right now. We're going to have a very flat line for where our ocean ends up meeting our sky, because that's the way it was in the photograph. Now, I will always change some things from the photograph, because this is my painting, and I am going to make it the way that I want it to be. But we do want to try and stay close to the original. I'm going to use a great big brush here and just really soften it out. We're going to add layer on layer on layer on that later, so that we can get it to look a little bit more. Oh, you guys weren't even seeing. There we go. A little bit better there. We're going to add layer on layer on layer onto it here, so that you guys can see a little bit more of how the transition of our atmospheric perspective comes in. And we're going to use a handy dandy. This is going to get really loud. My super secret item that I have inside my art studio, a hairdryer. That ought to do it. Now I can add another layer on top of that. And that's really all it takes sometimes, is all you're doing is you're adding layer on layer on layer, and you're doing it with successive drier amounts of paint as you go. And that's really all painting is just adding layer on layer. And then basically, I'm a professional liar. I'm going to tell you that this two-dimensional canvas that I'm working on is going to be 3 dimensions. So, you know, professionally lying. Been doing it for years. It's great. Okay. I'm a little happier with our atmospheric perspective. I'm going to soften it up quite a bit. And I like the way that's working. Okay, now we're going to bring in some ocean in the foreground. I've got a really beautiful ocean blue-green that I'm just going to be bringing in here. Just pulling right across here in the background, all the way across. This ocean blue-green is going to mix with a couple of other colors. I'm going to add a little bit of yellow. Some yellow ochre is going to come in here. I'm going to dip into some more of my blue that I've already got. and we're going to mix it right on the canvas. Now, I happen to have an air conditioning unit that is behind me making a little bit of noise, but besides that, that AC unit is also drying everything off as fast as I paint it. So you've got to make sure that when something like that happens, you've got a handy dandy brush that you go to. I happen to have a go-to brush right here for that, and we're going to use that to give us a nice smooth line. Now our ocean is mostly horizontal until we get up to the beach break. That's where we're going to swing it up like this. But the beach break is not ready yet. Not yet, but let's go ahead and get some down by our beach break. Move it up into the cove in the background. The cove in the background is going to be much more blue. So right up through here, it's going to be much more blue. It's going to have a transition coming into a green across it. So we're going to put some heavy blue in there for just one moment, and then we're going to clean that brush and start mixing right on our canvas with this ocean green that I've got. And it's a great color. I'm really happy with it. It's going to be one of these that is the star of the show for our ocean and our break on the beach. Okay. Yes, it's working out great. Maybe we put a touch of our yellow right through here. We've got a little bit of that sunshine hitting it nice and hard. A little too much, and we just go back in with some of our green. And then a touch of our blue in spots. And now we go back over to our little secret weapon here. And we're going to get it to mix right on the canvas for us. Gets a little tacky. You wet the brush up, dry it off on your towel real fast, bring it back through. And this is just blocking in at this point, guys. It is literally just going through and being able to get some color on the canvas as fast as possible. Maybe we take some of this and we reflect it up into the sky here just a little. A little tacky there. Let's see. That's a little bit better. While we've been working on that, our sky has been able to dry out just a little. We're going to put a small glaze over the entire sky. That glaze is going to take any of the harsh color right out of it, and it's going to give us an opportunity to smooth it out a bit. All right, now that we've done that, let's move back over here. Let's get a bit of this view on it for us. Okay, all right. Again, if you have not already, like and subscribe. Please make sure that you are. And we want comments. We got a lot of comments by Andrew, but we need more comments. So let's get some more in there. All right, let's go up and start a little bit more layering in our sky. I'm going to grab some unbleached titanium. I'm going to mix it ever so lightly with the same ocean green that I've got. I'm going to bring that in as another layer here. Bring some of it back here behind this mountain. And I'm just using a nice chisel brush. I got a lot of paint that's working up on the side. There we go. Okay, we're starting to get our atmospheric perspective the way that we like it. By the way, if you have not already, take a look at www.buymynovels.com. They sponsor the entire show, and by sponsor the entire show, I mean it's my website, and go buy some of my novels. See how that works? Let's soften it up. And then go to a great big brush and really soften it up. Okay. And if we take a little too much away, that's okay. We can come back and add to it later. We're going to go to a very small brush now, and we're going to add some details in our clouds. Just a little bit, just a little forward edge to some of the clouds. Right here, we're going to use some unbleached titanium white. And that unbleached titanium is going to give us a little bit of a yellow color in our clouds. That's good. That's the way we want it. We're going to go to a smaller makeup brush and pull right along the back of the forefront of the cloud. So this forefront edge, for the most part, we want to leave alone. And we're just going to pull the back out, and it will give us the shape of our clouds. Give us that three-dimensional view. Maybe there's a distant storm way in the back. You never know where it lives. Maybe there's a happy little tree clear back there in one of the floating islands that I like painting. Everybody loves those, right? Okay. Please like and subscribe and comment. If you are brand new to the page, I want to know that you're out there. And if you happen to be an artist and you're just starting, or you're an artist and you're established, tell my fans about it. I have some fans that are listening and they constantly buy paintings. They would love to be able to hear about you. So put it in the comments. This is not like one of those art shows where the person who's painting is like, I don't want anyone else to advertise. No, go ahead, advertise. I want to know that you're out there. I want to know that you're coming to take a look at another artist. And my fans want to know where to find your work. We're going to put a little more detail in some of our clouds now. That is some really globby paint on there. So we're going to pull some off of the canvas here. Okay, and we'll add it there, and then we go back to our little makeup brush. And we're going to use that to move it around for our clouds. Maybe there's a little bit that's really peeking out here. Todd Walcott. Hi, Todd. Thanks for joining the channel and saying hello. You wish you could paint. Well, you can. You just have to pick up a brush. I mean, this is 40 plus years in the making to get to a point where I can paint just like it's nothing. So it's not like this is the way that I started. I was the worst artist in my high school class, and now there's only 2 of us that ever became any kind of professional artist. So, and the makeup brushes really do make my life easier. So Todd, if you're going to get started, pick yourself up an assortment of makeup brushes, and it will really change your life. It'll make everything that you do so much easier when it comes to clouds. We want to add a little wispy bit of cloud right here. And then we're going to add some of this here. Now it just looks like I've made just some little marks right there, but when you come back over top of it with your makeup brush, just do some clockwise circles here. Now it looks like I've got clouds that are building up way in the background. It's just a couple of little teeny things that you do, and those are tricks that you learn along the way. Let's soften up everything that I've been working on up here and soften up this one. Okay. I do like the way the clouds are looking so far. They look really good. We've got some good atmospheric perspective. We've got clouds clear in the background. All right, let's get started on the next part. We've got to work on the little island that I covered up right here. Now, for that little island, the first thing I'm going to do is something that a lot of artists get very upset at. I'm going to go in with some black, and I'm just going to outline the entire island real quick. And the black that I've chosen to use today is Mars black, so it has a little bit of a red tint to it. And we're just going to pop it in, and then just give ourselves some cleavage points for the rock that we're working with. Make it break that line. As you can see, when I break that line, it's going to end up getting some of that titanium white that I put up there. That's okay. We're just blocking it in. It's just going to sit there, and it's going to dry up while I move over and start getting some of this other area. We're going to make a little bit of a rock there, and another rock there, and another one there. And then we're going to take off into our landmass, which is this far distant mountain rock area right here. You're going to bring it down there. It's going to tuck back there. There's not going to be a lot of swoop for this part of the bay. That part of the bay is going to take place up over here. And this blocking in, you're really just getting it so that you've got something your paint can sit over top. A lot of the colors I'm going to use will end up being semi-transparent. So if I'm using some semi-transparent ones, I don't want them all to have nothing to sit on. So going over it with the black really helps. We're going to get our island right there. We're not going to pick out the forefront of it yet. We'll probably do that with a little of this raw umber. Raw umber is a great dark color that any other colors will sit on top of very easily. We make some rock formations as we go up. We'll probably add jungle to cover over top of that. And then we're going to dip into just a little bit of our sap green. And the sap green will just kind of move in right to that point right there. Now, again, all we've got right here is we're just blocked in. Put some of our sap green that we've still got on here right through this area. You can see it starts to pick up some of your paint from the background. Just use a lighter touch and it will stay there. Again, that's just blocking in. That's all we're really doing for this section is blocking it in. Maybe we'll add some there and get some more sap green right there. And we'll add a little yellow so that we can differentiate it, and we'll play around with it later. Blocking in just means you just grabbing the paint and ripping it. Just going straight onto your canvas. Okay, now, you'll notice I didn't fill up the cove in here yet. There was a reason for that. And that reason is because I forgot. So, let's add some in there right now. And we'll just... And it comes out and smooths out and works with the rest of the painting, just like that. Okay. Maybe a little darker, just kicking around different parts of my ocean here. Okay, while that's doing that, I think I want to add just a little tinge of more yellow in the clouds. Just something that'll give us a little more excitement in our clouds. Okay, just a little across there and there. Get some drama going on across our clouds. Yes, looks good. Now, let's switch over to our makeup brush real quick, and we need to soften that or else it will not look right. Yeah, okay. I'm starting to get exactly the coloring I wanted to have pop up. Okay, we've got that. Now, let's work on our ocean a little bit more, shall we? Let's get some of our green going on in different places here. Looks good. Let's get a slightly larger makeup brush. And let's soften that out. Like the way that's working. And maybe back there just a little as well. We're a little too thick and dark in one spot. Okay, good. Now, if it seems a little too heavy, just grab one of your makeup brushes and drag it. It'll move through exactly the way that you want it to be. Okay, we don't have a lot of comments going on other than Andrew. Let's see. It only takes time, money, and talent. Ha! Andrew, you're hilarious. Yeah, because every artist has got all that money that they're spreading around when they're just brand new. Hilarious. Our ocean is looking pretty good so far. Let's pull out our handy dandy secret weapon, the makeup brush. Or not the makeup brush, sorry, the hair dryer. All right, now can't work anymore on our ocean until we start delineating a lot of our landscape. So what we're going to do for our landscape is we need a smaller makeup brush. Actually, no, we're not going to use the makeup brush yet. Let's go straight back to this one. And we want some yellow ochre. We want our raw umber. We're going to mix that and pull in some titanium white. It's going to start giving us a little bit of what we can use for our rock formation. Now our light source is coming from here down this way. So our rocks will be on the forefront here. And then a little bit there. Okay, that's looking nice. Let's make some more rocks right up here. We're not worried about this tail that we've got down here. We'll just work that into a shadow. Add our rock, more rock, and then the same thing up here. Now this is a larger island. It's going to have foliage on it, so we're only going to bring our rock face for what's going to see the harshest of the afternoon evening sun, because that's where it would bake off most of the vegetation. And we'll add that. That looks good. We're going to do the same thing up here. You've got paint on both sides of your brush, so if you start to get too tacky on one side, move to the other. Okay, we've got some rocks starting to form. Looks good. Let's go back out to our forefront. Now we're going to go to a smaller brush. We're going to go to an itty bitty little one, this guy. And I made a mistake. I ended up leaving this guy, I ended up leaving him in the water too much, so he has this little curve to him. We're going to end up making that something we use. You use makeup brushes and hair dryers on canvas, and I use paint brushes on faces. Yes, indeed you do. You're one of my favorite people, you know that. All right, let's get more of a tan. We want a little more yellow ochre. We're going to mix into the same stuff that we mixed up before, but we're going to lighten it up quite a bit. And now we're going to come across the front. And it will give us even more of that rocky formation look. This is the one that's out here in the water quite a bit, so it's not going to have a lot of vegetation on it. Well, we've still got that. We'll use that same paint up over here, and then here, here, and of course across here. Now we're just picking out the areas that the sun will have ended up hitting. We're probably at around 4:30 p.m. in the afternoon, and so this is the kind of light source we have. Let's get over into this one as well. Again, this bigger one is probably going to be covered up with a lot of vegetation. We don't know yet. I need a little more paint. We'll find out as we go along. It's layer on layer on layer with this stuff. Okay, all right. Let's move back over to our little island. Now our little island, now we're going to pick out the surf around it. We're going to start with just some straight white, and then we will play around from there. So we're going with titanium white and an itty bitty little pencil brush. We want to get any extra paint rolled off until we've got a tip. And we're going to give us a little bit of a break back here. And then we're going to figure out our break along the island and how it's going to hit any of the extra rock. Now this is just where we're starting with this. We're not going to finish up this way because there are so many more layers to go. Give it a little spray here. Give it a nice tail out into the crest of the waves. Maybe we've got some spray that hit the back side of it. And while we're at it, we've got a little bit, we can pick out some of the wave that's coming into shore. Then maybe a little bit more of the wave. Okay, all right, so far so good. Now, we can't leave it that way. We've got to get some of our darker blue. And we're going to come in, and this is the shadow or the darker part of our ocean in here. We'll pick some of that out. Maybe we got a little bit of it peeking in there. And we want to go back and forth right in some of the areas. Remember, our light source is coming this way. So if we're going to have a dark part to the wave, it's underneath the white. And this is where we go back into our makeup brushes one more time. And we're going to soften the whole thing up. We can always pick more detail out on top of it at a later time. Right now we just want to get an indication of our island before we go in and start doing more detail on it. There we go. Okay. All right. Now, take a look at our source material. Our source material says we have more shadow right in here. But I want to pick out some highlights on that island first. So I'm going to dip into my titanium white. I'm going to dip into my unbleached titanium. I'm going to get a really nice tan color. And I'm just going to make some rock highlights. And then a little bit back here. Okay. And for the most part, our little island back there is done. Maybe we get a little bit darker color in some of these areas right next to the waves, because that's where I would be the darkest if I were an island of rocks out in the middle of nowhere. And maybe he's got a little friend rock that just sits right there. Okay, all right. You know what? I like the idea of a little bit more high contrast, so I am even going to take a little bit of white, just some pure titanium white, and just pick out little teeny spots on my rock. And then maybe use that same stuff to get more of this spray on the back end of the island. A little more on our wave there. And our wave's starting to come into land. And I like it that way. I think I want to bring a lot of that wave through here, lessen it out, and bring out a little more over the white cap there and there. Now, I've got to come back through here and just start picking out some of that detail. Then go to my small makeup brush. Okay, we're working over here now. This is further in the background. We don't have as much detail on our wave. Just enough to indicate we're having some of that happen in the cove. Get back over here. Soften this up. Much like the clouds, we're going to do the same thing with our waves. We just have to make sure we break some of that white cap. We're going to bring some more colors in there too in just a minute, but not yet. We really want to bring in more of this wave through this area and then along the beachfront. Speaking of beachfront, while we're waiting for that to dry, let's work on our beachfront. Our beachfront is going to be probably the easiest thing. We're just going to take some unbleached titanium and just start bringing our sand in here into the different spots that we want to have it, right up there, maybe along that area, and there's a little beach back there. We'll work on getting that blended in a minute. Let's get on back here, take a look at what we're creating. We want to bring some of that sand in this way. We're going to take the brush and we're going to blend some of that out into our ocean, and that'll give us that feeling of the water rushing over the sand. Okay, haven't seen it. We got any more comments? Silly man. Everyone knows titanium is silver. You know, argue amongst yourselves. I'm okay with it. Okay. That's just a base to get it in there. It's really nothing more than that. Because it's got to dry up while we add a little bit of color in different parts of our wave. Wow, that is a lot of paint. That was a lot too much paint. Yeah, that brush is not going to work. We've got to get a different brush for it. We'll go into this one. We just happen to have the paint there. And we'll add a little here, a little there, and then bring some back into our cove. We'll use a little atmospheric perspective on some of this back in the background. And all in all, we're happy with the way the waves are starting to appear. Okay. We need a little bit better view right through here. Okay, now let's, all of that's background on background on background just to get it to appear right. We're just going to use the edge of this brush to come through and bring our real wave forefront down through here. We're going to take some of our ocean green and our normal blue. We're going to mix that together. And we'll just come across the front of our wave. And now our ocean's starting to have a lot of layer to it, some definition. We need another one of our makeup brushes, probably the one that I've got inside the water right now. Yep, that's what I need. The background's not going to be as distinct. It doesn't become a little more detailed till we get to our foreground here. All of this is just to get layer, 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 so that we can actually start adding the details. Hey, hello, looking good, thank you. I was like, now, at L3, what, is that Dylan? Is that yours, Dylan? I did a painting for Dylan just a couple of weeks ago. Okay. Dylan, you're going to have to let me know if that's you. Or not Dylan, no, different Dylan, huh? Yes, sir. Okay, wait, are you the Dylan that, oh, there's too many Dylans. There's a Dylan I work with. He's a pretty cool dude. And then there's the Dylan I painted a painting for. So, Dylan, you're going to have to let me know which Dylan you are. Hang on your wall. Okay, all right. Now we got it. All right, it's the one I did the painting for. Okay, entirely too many Dylans. We're gonna have to take care of that. Hey, I'm gonna call your dad Dylan, and I'm gonna let him know I'm coming over to whoop on you. That way we can get rid of one Dylan. Yeah, cash coffee, Dylan, as if I hadn't already figured it out. Let's get our wave right here. Okay, that wave's starting to look good. Let's get our next wave down underneath it. And down. I'm just kidding, Dylan. You're too tough for me. I'd never whoop on you. I'd run away scared. True story. True story. Another wave. And more parts to that one. Okay. All right. Let's add some more color in unique spots. I'm going to get a lot of green and mix it in with my blue. I'm going to pull in some titanium and some yellow. I'm going to mix up a nice ocean surf. We're going to see if it's overpowering or not. I'm going to put it right through here. Does not look overpowering. That's good. Let's pull it down across that area. Yes. Love it. Very happy with it. Now, the last time when we were ending up painting Dylan's painting live, Patrick kept on making all kinds of absurd comments. Which, of course, helped the algorithm, but they were still absurd comments. Okay, we've just lightened that same color up. And we're just going to make some lines here. And some there. Okay. I like the way this is working out. I don't do very many ocean paintings, so it's definitely an exploration today. Where's the brush I'm looking for? Dylan, did you sneak into my studio and move the brush I was looking for? All right, that's it. Everybody get Dylan. Let's soften this area up. And here. And we'll go in later and we'll add some highlighted yellow to really make our waves pop a little bit more. Okay, We can leave that alone. We got to work on our beach now. Let's see. Dylan still hasn't answered whether or not he's grabbed the brush that I was looking for. We know it was you, Dylan. We know you're the guy. Okay, let's get our... Okay, I want a little bit of Turner's yellow. I'm going to mix that with a little bit of my ocean green. I'm going to work on my beach. Now that we had that little layer behind it earlier, the new layer that I put on is going to really come forth nicely. Work our beach further in. And then maybe flatten out the brush, get a little bit of paint on it, and work a hint of beach back there. Okay, starting to look good, guys. It's all coming together. I love it when a plan comes together. Let's move back just a little bit, give it a better look. No, sir, not you. Dylan's probably one of the best sports there is. He's a cool dude. Much like his father. Okay, let's grab a giant brush and soften it up. Okay, let's look at our source material. That brush has got to... Our source material. Hang on one second here. All right. There's nothing more I really need to do to that one there. Let's work on this area. We're going to go back to this little brush that I smashed earlier. We're going to take and get some of the paint out of it and give us a nice edge. We want that chisel. We're going to get our tan color, pick out some highlights back here on these rocks. And right, and then we have some green foliage on that one back there. So we're only going to use 3 colors for our foliage. I've got a really nice sap green. That's going to act as our dark green. Let's see. Do I have any on there? There's none on the little teeny thing. So we're just going to bring it in different spots. Give ourselves a little indication of things sticking up there in different places. Pull in a little bit in some of that area that we added the atmospheric perspective. Maybe go over a couple of these little rocks a little bit. Okay, and then we're going to go into an emerald green while the sap green's still wet. And we're going to pick out just a couple of spots with our emerald green, get it to kind of mix right on the canvas for us. Okay, we've got some definition going on with foliage. Pull out the secret weapon, the hair dryer. Dry that area off real quick. That ought to do it. And now we're going to not even use a green. What we're going to do is we're just going to take, we'll probably mix it with a little bit of our green. We're going to take our yellow ochre, mix it with a tiny bit of green, And then with some titanium white, get our highlight color the way we want it. And then pick out the highlights where the sun is hitting some of our foliage. We're not getting really detailed on this one. The source material was not detailed. We're getting a little more detailed than the source material, but not a lot. There, all right. We got all the foliage we need in the background island. Let's move to a foreground island right here. And we're going to take our black. We're going to separate this one from that island. Let's move that out. So we're going to tuck it right behind this one. Okay, let's work on our rock formation. Pick out more details on our rock. Then we have a little bit of rock that's out here that leads up to that part. And it's a pretty rocky shore area. So we're going to have to, you know what? We're going to need more contrast in this area than what we've got right now. So pull out some permanent black. I know a lot of artists are like, no, not the permanent black. Well, luckily it's my painting, not yours, and I know what I like working with. Get some permanent black instead of our Mars black. And we're going to go to a little teeny pencil brush, a small one right here. Let's zoom in here to the area we're working on. All right, and let's get our permanent black. We're going to add just the dark areas to the underside of these rocks that are out here that lead up to this one. And separate it even more from that one. And let's get some nice lines in our rock here. Yes, looks good. Now, the interesting thing about the way that I'm doing these lines in the rock is this is really not different from the way that you would end up doing dragon's scales. You would do dragon scales in much the similar fashion. You see right here where this island ends up meeting up here? I don't like that, so I'm going to extend some rock up and break that plane. It just looks a little bit wrong done that way. So let's bring the rock up above it like that. And that separates us from the background nicely. We have to get our other colors. We're going in reverse of the way we normally do it. We've gone with our light instead of our dark first. That's okay. We can do that. Let's get our burnt umber and just put some burnt umber. This is raw burnt. Sorry, not burnt umber. This is raw umber. Put it right there behind the back. If we want to come in and make it a little bit richer on our foreground rocks, then we could get some burnt umber instead of raw umber. That would give a nice rich color to it. And there's no foliage on those particular rocks. We're going to go to our smaller brushes again. We're going to mix ourselves some yellow ochre with our unbleached titanium. So we can get kind of a yellow tan rock going on. And let's just add that right here. And a little bit more. And the rocks start to pop out and give us the contrast we need. If we don't get that contrast, then the rocks don't actually form properly. So you have to have that contrast in order to make it work. You know what? Let's bring this line here too. We're going to be coming through and adding a little more to that anyway. We just got some beach that we added right in the background here. Starting to look good there. Let's use that same area and add beach here. Even though it's going to be a separate beach by the time we're done. There. Okay. Let's get it right in there. Those little teeny rocks are starting to work out all right. Okay. Now, let's see. How many people we got watching? We've got 2 people watching. Now, we only have a couple of likes. Let's get a lot more likes than that. We only have 1 person watching. Okay. Let's see. What do we want? You know, let's get that. We're going to get some burnt sienna and some burnt umber. Yes. We want to make some richer colors here. We're not going to need a lot of it yet, so just a little teeny bit of each onto our palette, which is good because my palette's getting crowded. We're going to start with the burnt umber. We're going to make some richer rock formations here. And just add to it, add to it, add to it, and then bring it out. Shadows. And then some up here. That's good. We're not going to pull in the burnt sienna yet. That would be overpowering at this level of the rock. We are going to put some more highlights in different places here. Okay. The rock is looking good. Nice and distinct. Yeah. All right, I'm happy with that part of the rock. Let's move out to this part of the island. Actually, no, let's do our waves back here first. So, our waves back there are, we're just going to go with some titanium white for this section. And we just want to put it along the bottom edge of those rocks. So maybe bring this as a sliver back in the background, and then a little more there. That gives us all the wave we need in that area. Now, let's work on it underneath our rock. I'm dipping into some titanium white that I've gotten way too wet, so I gotta pull it away a little bit. Okay. That makes me a little happier there and there. So far, so good. Okay, and then maybe some of this meets up with it in the right spots. That's looking nice. Okay, now we can work on this other rock formation. Now I want this rock formation to stand out quite a bit more from the other one. So I'm going to do something that most artists would say is a no-no, but in this case we are dealing with titanium and other. Titanium is a non-transparent color. It's going to really go over top of it. But a lot of your other acrylic is semi-transparent. So since our titanium first, make our different rock formations on the way down. And then we will put color over top of that. And that will make this one more vibrant and bright. Because whatever color we put over top of the titanium, the brightness of the titanium will generally shine through that. Okay. Now, we also have to take a look at our source material. Oh, you know what? We do have a little bit of foliage on this one in the source material because we are recreating a different painting. So let's put a little bit of foliage in here. You're going to find that quite often you cover up everything that you do anyway. That's just part and parcel of painting. That hair from. Okay, and now we can move on to what we were doing with that cliff front. Starting the hair dryer scares copper. Ah. Okay, let's see. What are we going to do? We're going to go with our burnt umber. Get ourselves some of our rock formation. Looking just right. We're not going over the forefront of the white yet, just parts of this area here. It's going to give us this feel of a color called transparent burnt umber, but that's not what we're working with right now. Just working with regular burnt umber. Going to get our black. We want some really nice permanent black right through here because we're going to make sure this one pops away from this hill that's right there. Okay. Looks nice. It's working great. Very happy with the way the painting is moving along, and if it were Bob Ross, he'd say there's a happy little tree right there. Okay, now we're going to go to our burnt sienna. We want this rock to really start to move forward from the background. There's more detail on it, there's more color in it, and that's going to make it so that the background rock looks like it's further away, and it is less contrast. Yes, looks good. Okay. While that's drying, we're going to mix ourselves up some yellow. Specifically, we're going to go with a little bit of yellow, which is our yellow ochre, with our emerald green. And we're going to pick out some highlights on our foliage. Looks good. Okay, we can leave that alone. That can stay in the background. I feel like we're starting to cover up part of our beach there, though, and I don't want that. Let's get some of our beach here, there, and there. All right, I'm happy with that beach. All right, let's move on to what we're doing here. Okay, we've got in our source material, just going to block them in. There's a little channel for some water to come through that area. right in between those two. This rock is going to lead right up and meet with this one. It's going to leave a little window to some of this behind it. And then we have some that just kind of drifts down the beach here. Goes out into the water a little bit with our rock. Mostly drifts down, leaves us a window into some of the different parts of the surf. And our beach. Okay. Maybe not quite so much. There. Yeah, it's covered up. That means we're going to have to, oh, we weren't even watching. We're going to have to move some of our surf around that. That's okay. We can redirect our waves. That's what's nice about a painting, is you can just keep on going layer after layer after layer on it. It's a nice rocky area of the beach. Good. We're happy with that. Okay, let's go back to what we were doing back here, because that's not going to do the way it is right now. We've got to get our highlights in there. We're just going to mix up some of that, our burnt sienna with our unbleached titanium, and we're going to put some highlights across different parts of the rock. This is a volcanic island, so it's going to be porous and volcanic rock. A little more of that up top. Normally, if I'm just making something up, I can end up making it up and doing whatever I want. In this case, we have to constantly check our source material and make sure we're staying true to what the original painting was. So what happened is somebody ended up stealing the original painting, and they want almost a replica, but a replica in the Sean Ricks style. Okay, that's good. We can move down here and start working down here as well on this. We're going to do much the same thing down here. We're going to leave a lot of it very black, though. We want some high contrast in this area. Maybe give it just kind of this feel like it's lava flow. A little more paint. Same thing here. No, that's still wet. Okay, we're going to have to hit that with the hair dryer real quick. Okay, let's get back to what we were doing then. And do much the same thing up here. Okay. Happy with that. Now let's get ourselves some sand. Good. Okay. Maybe bring a little bit of water through certain spots of this. Let's redirect some of our surf. So we've got one wave that comes up this way, and it's that, but when it comes through here, it's going to give us lots of little whitewater ripples. Yeah, that looks right. Maybe some of that water makes it up through here. Yeah, looks good. Give ourselves a little more of this ocean green in spots. That makes me happy there. Okay, now we're going to come back to our ocean and we're going to give ourselves contrast that we're missing because we've been ignoring it for a bit, and that's okay. It needed to dry and get me to a spot where I saw the rest of the painting. Okay. This contrast is going to give us a little more depth to our waves. And maybe a little bit right here, a shadow, and a little bit of that shadow of our water there and there. Very good. Okay, now we're going to mix up a really light yellow with a lot of our titanium white. Going to get a little of our ocean blue in it. Add some right along the line top here. This is a lot like what we do with our clouds, where now we're adding highlights. And those highlights will give us depth, contrast. It's going to make it so it's more interesting to look at. Put some of that right out there. Yeah, we're happy with that. All right, let's get back to working on this. Now I've got a lot of foliage mixed into these areas, but I need some highlights on those rocks first. So let's come in and pick out where that sun is really shining on the rock first before we end up adding our foliage through those spots. Okay. Give you guys more of a full view of what's going on here. And then zoom back in. It says I have a very bad connection right now. Why would that be? Guys, it looks like we're going to have to stop the live painting right here, and I'll have to finish up the painting myself.